Nikhil, brother, how are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thanks for joining us on the podcast today. And Nikhil and I have known each other for a fair while now, and always an interesting conversation ensures. So, yeah, it's a great honour to have him on and to do a recorded podcast today. I'm really looking forward to it. Nikhil's been helping myself and quite a few others actually with different creative content, and we thought we'd have a bit of a talk about that today, and you know, themes evolving around like inspiration, manifestation, service, etc. So perhaps Nikhil, if you can tell us a little bit about what you do and how you're helping others in that process.
Sure. So I founded a company called Akasha Creative, and we help heart-based creatives, consultants, coaches, entrepreneurs, artists to align and grow their businesses through using digital strategy, marketing automation, to really get their message to the world.
Sure.
And to create abundance.
Right. And because, yeah, I mean, the times we're living in now in 2017, it's never been better as far as that with your availabilities that we have through technology. And also, you know, like something that you and I speak quite a lot about is like just the changes that are going on in the world on more of the spirit side of things as well, and how people are able to create and manifest from a space that probably hasn't been utilised for, well, a couple hundred years, maybe since the Industrial Revolution, where we all became packaged and commodified as people. Now we're starting to move into this time of remembering our inspiration, remembering our creative ability, and yeah, it's leading to a fascinating intersection of time, I believe.
Yeah, it really is. We're at this, I guess, turning point where we've got the ability to create online businesses, for example, to work from a laptop, to reach thousands of millions of people almost instantaneously.
Sure.
And actually make a lot of money doing so whilst serving and whilst living a balanced and enjoyable life. So that whole paradigm is shifting, and we all have a beautiful opportunity to exploit that and to utilize all the resources available to us.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. And something we spoke about a little bit earlier, but what's a good way to, like, if people have out there listening have got some like idea they've been looking at for a while, or some creative initiative, but maybe perhaps feeling a little bit stuck in their life, and whatever it might be, job, relationship, fear around it, whatever, like something that's sort of really affecting them being able to implement. What are some ways that people can help, or have you also seen people sort of help push past that and into getting something going?
Yeah, well, it all stems from fear, from judgment, and that can be addressed quite easily with self-awareness.
Right, sure, yeah.
And just understanding why you're holding yourself back, where these fears stem from. And when we start to address our own fears, we realize that all the comparisons we make with others are all totally unfounded.
Right.
We're just scared, and it's our ego trying to protect ourselves.
For sure.
So the people that I've worked with and myself that have broken past barriers and limitations, it really stems from focusing on yourself, focusing on your journey, understanding that it's not a race.
Yeah.
If you've got an idea, if you've got some creative pursuit, and most likely than not, somebody else out there is doing something and succeeding with it, which means that it's totally viable.
It can be done.
It can be done.
Yeah.
It can be done.
Yeah.
And it just comes back to self-worth.
Sure.
Why am I good enough to doing what this person does, or doing it better? Because you are divine. Simple as that.
Yeah.
That is reason in itself.
Sure.
You are worthy.
Yeah, you're a conscious aspect of this universe, which Duncan Trussell, one of my favourite comedians, says is probably, he said it's probably worth about $1 billion an hour. Just the fact that you're consciously aware of yourself in this universe, the energy that comes from that is worth about $1 billion an hour.
Yeah.
And that's true. I do like that. And we all have the ability to tap into that. the problem is, an issue is that we've been taught for a long time that we're not worthy, that we don't have that ability. And something that, you touched on there about, something that I've really has come up for me too, is like when there's a judgment that comes up around what either myself is doing or someone else especially, it's really, especially when it's with someone else, it's really just an aspect of myself that I still haven't like sorted out yet. Like I'll look at something that someone might be doing or looking into or creating, I'm like, but that's really, if it's that feeling that might be bringing up around judgment and self-worth, and it's just an aspect that I still haven't resolved within myself. And I think that's a big one, to get your intention clear as to what you want to do and what you want to create and bring to the table. It's vitally important.
Yeah, look, with judgment, that's the biggest, one of the biggest piece. Like in a perfect scenario, we would just be existing and not judge anything. We would see the divine in everything. We would appreciate everything around us, and in doing so, we would have that reflected in our world. We wouldn't have any limiting beliefs anymore, because we understand the divine potentiality that exists within all things.
Sure.
But like you said, we've been conditioned for a long time now to step away from our true nature and really create these fragmented belief systems within ourselves that have resulted in us, playing small and not embracing our true creative potential.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. And what are some ways, Nikhil, have you found, and do you see with others, that you can help once you've got that initial spark and the inspiration, and you've got the the initiative to put something forward? What are ways that people can really help drive and motivate what they're doing? Like what methods can you use to go forward with that?
Sure. So there's two elements to it, I believe, which is an intuitive mindset aspect, which is what I work with my clients as well, which supplements and is synergistically linked with the physical strategy and the digital aspect of things, from creating funnels and plans and analytics, etc. So it all actually begins in the mind, through visualizing what success looks and feels like to you.
Being that?
Being that. Being that. Really becoming the energy of success, living, breathing, talking, speaking like that, and of course being infinitely gracious and appreciative of what you have right now. So it's really not hacking the universe, but in a way it is. And this is the way that you can really make your whole process of creative expansion a lot easier. Yeah,
definitely. It's hacking is a good word, but it's sort of working with the flow of the universe, which isn't really, we're not taught how to work within the flow of the moon, the stars, the earth. Like it's much more about, especially again going back to with the industrial age and our schooling system, it's about like turning up between these times and creating and being of use between these times. But it's not everyone works that way. I know, certainly for myself, I'm writing something at the moment, and I find that I'm writing best at 1 o'clock in the morning, which is just ridiculous. Like between 1 and 2 o'clock, it's just like effortless. But if I try and do anything before that with it, it's really quite a struggle. And I think it's a real key aspect to this, what we're talking about, of really being able to manifest and be successful and get into your life what you want, is find your flow. Like find what works for you. So what are some ways, Nikhil, I know that's something you've looked at a lot in the past, some ways that you've been able to do that and to be able to really move with at your pace or at your standard?
Sure. A crucial element is obviously developing a meditation practice.
Right.
Because through meditation, obviously, you get in touch with yourself more. And meditation is not just 15 minutes or 20 minutes a day where you split the time apart. It's a constant process of mindfulness.
Right.
And when you're in that state, you can feel when you may be in more of a creative, productive, yang sort of a state, as opposed to a more introspective yin state where it may be time to just reflect and, you know, maybe read an inspirational book or whatever it might be. So it's really comes back to self-awareness again, and trusting that you know what's right for you. I'm still challenged at times with that need to be doing something because I've got this a schedule of my week ahead. But it's really, I believe we're in this place where it's about honoring ourselves, and like Adrian, like you said, we are nature. We are part of this flow that's moving and in flux, and there's different seasons, which is not only in a macrocosmic scale, but in a microcosmic scale within your day and within your week.
For sure.
And it's just understanding that and embracing that, and just comes back to connection with self again.
Definitely. Yeah, but you're right. There's like a guilt around that though. Like working, there's a guilt around you're not being seen as being productive or like seen as being a good member of society if you choose to work that way, because it's not seen from the viewpoint that this socio-cultural economic system that we have set up of like this viewpoint of this is what you have to do. And it's not to say to go out and become a bum and not do anything. Like you still need to work your ass off and you still need to put the effort in, but it's doing so from a space that's much more in line with how you create and how you feel inspired. And for everyone that's different, it really is. And a key to each individual watching this is to find what works for you. I sort of realised today, and it's something I've sort of wanted to not admit to, but like I'm a slow learner when it comes to things. Like I'm not one of those people that picks up things well straight away and just do it. Like I take my time. Like it's not because I really want to. It's just the way I learn. Like I didn't start talking till I was like almost 3 years old, and just little things like that. Like I've always taken my time with things, whether it's with sport, but I know that when I get it. Like I'm a motherfucker. Once I learn something, then it becomes ingrained in me, and I can really do that. And there may be people out there like me that learn like that and operate like that. And instead of in the past where I may have like just given up and thought, fuck it, I'm not getting it or whatever, or I need to go do something else. Just stick with it. And I think there's many different ways to learn, there's many different ways to manifest, but finding what's right for you is key to that. And I really feel like what you said there about meditation is an important aspect of that awareness, and be able to clear space for all the other elements of you and what you want to do to come in. It's important.
And incredibly important. And look, we're at such a pivotal time right now. I believe we're being supported by universal energies to step into our power and to really, like you said, like it's really about finding your unique song.
Finding your song.
It's finding your song. We're all individual individual creations, which are part of nature and which is obviously part of the divine. And it's getting in tune with your own natural rhythm. And we're all unique. There's not one way to do things. There's an infinite myriad of ways to doing things. And that'll evolve as well as you evolve.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. That's a very good point. It's not about like a final destination. It's more about the process. So it's doing the thing each day, each week, each year to process. Because there's never one point where you get to like, okay, cool, I've got to where I've got to, and then now I can feel good about myself, or now I can celebrate or whatever. Celebrate each moment. Celebrate each day. Celebrate the process. And if you can do that, I feel like that's where true intuitive, creative spark comes in, like divine spark, really.
That plays into what we were discussing earlier. When you're visualizing your version of success, it obviously has to be aligned with your soul's purpose, with your highest values, because that's what will bring you the most joy, the feeling of joy. And when you bring that into the moment, you've already achieved what you set out to do, which is to have that feeling. It's always been about the feeling, and like you rightfully said, when you reach that level of success that you've determined in your mind, nothing is really going to change if you've been feeling that same joy the whole way. If anything, you're going to want more and as you expand. So it's a really beautiful thing that we have everything that we could ever need or desire right now, which is happiness, love, compassion and acceptance, really.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and approaching those from a space of gratitude, I think, is an important part of it as well. I shouldn't say think, I feel is an important part of it as well. I know gratitude certainly has helped me in times where I have felt a little bit stuck or a little bit judgmental or like concerned about what I do have. For showing gratitude for showing gratitude for what I actually do have, which is really a pretty phenomenal life.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, and like here we are, Nikhil, we're out. It's almost winter.
Yeah.
We're out on this nice day. You know, having
Stunning.
an awesome conversation and working on some creative pursuits together. You know, there's lots to be grateful for in life, and that's an important aspect of manifesting. I really feel is not just understanding what you want and what you want to achieve, but also just having gratitude and thankfulness for what you have now. The two play hand in hand.
Yes, that's the other piece to the puzzle, and it's quite paradoxical in a way, because we're seeking and we're expanding and we want more, yet we have so much already, and within those two poles lies us.
Yeah.
And it's integrating both, I believe. But I mean, if you can just be gracious and thankful and appreciative, that in itself is going to bring you bountiful abundance in your life.
Most definitely.
Yeah, and it starts from a place of generality. Like, you know, we are bombarded with a lot of problems and issues at life at times. But if you've woken up in the morning with a roof over your head and you've had one meal every day, you've won at life.
That's a pretty good start. Yeah, right there.
Yeah, and it's just starting with those general feelings, appreciating like the bed that you slept on, appreciating your body, and just building with that momentum, and then life becomes a symphony.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, a real symphony. There's a harmonization that occurs from there that takes some awareness and takes some mindfulness to stay in that middle ground, or in that balanced state. You know, there's lots of forces at play. We were speaking earlier of, like, you know, a dualistic reality that we live in, which is changing. We're moving out of that dualistic reality, but that balance, or that point in the center there of, I like the analogy of like the toroidal field, like that point in the center where all creation, all time, all matter comes from, is our divine spark, is our divine energy, and we're it. Like, you are it. You are that thing. Like, there's nothing. The only thing holding you back from that is things that you've learned, and we've all learned from our social backgrounds, our cultural backgrounds. But it's all bullshit. Like, it really is. Like, who you are is who you are, and only you know who that is. And what's fascinating in what's happening in 2017 is that it's never been easy for us to actually do something about it and implement that and share that with the rest of the world as well. It's incredible.
And look at all the stuff that we've dealt in our lives. You call it your mess, all your trials and tribulations. As we overcome that shapes who we are now, and that actually is your gift to the world, because through your experiences and your successes and your victories, your gifts are fine-tuned and tempered, and that's what people need. That's what the world is waiting for, your unique message and your unique song. And there's no excuse for any of us to play small, because we're not serving ourselves, we're not serving others. And now it's very, very easy to get behind a camera, or to engage somebody to help you, to get your message out there, to create a product or service based on your natural gifts.
Sure.
And just serve.
Yeah.
And be paid for it as well.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, that's what it's all about. There is, like, really utilizing those to, like, we're all in this together. So working together is like a vital, like, you know, going back to a tribal heritage, where to be successful as a tribe, you really have to work together. And we've forgotten about that. It's much more, you know, greed, ego have come into it, where it's getting one over the other man. But so we've been taught that that's the way to be successful, but it's actually not. I mean, it's a way in the paradigm that we've set up for ourselves, but it's not the way.
No.
The way, I genuinely feel, is about collaboration, is about network, is bringing in those elements together of people around you, experiences that you've had, to bring into, like, one cohesive unit that you can then share with the rest of the world.
Yeah, and I feel like it's been so ingrained in us, this whole concept of competition and this lack and scarcity, which really plays into how we think and how we act in our daily pursuits. When in reality, we live in an abundant universe.
Abundant.
There's more than enough for every single person in this world to be a millionaire 10 times over and beyond.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
So when we as an individual can transcend the limiting beliefs, that's when it starts to ripple out as well.
For sure.
If the richer I get, the more abundant I get, the more abundant you get. And it's just, this is how we are going to create this new world.
Exactly, yeah. And it's about showing that. I mean, if you're watching this, you're probably of that understanding. You probably realise that it's really now about showing that, like understanding that the way things are being aren't quite right. Like Morpheus said, you know something's not quite right. And the best way to improve the world and the best way to improve, well, it first starts by improving your own world, which I'm sure, no doubt, that many of you watching this are already on that journey. But then once you've got an aspect of that, sharing that as well, and bringing people in, bringing experiences in that really help facilitate that, because the world needs it. It really does. I don't think I'm not being too coy or dismissive by saying that the world needs it, because it does.
It does.
You can see what's going on.
It's time to just be that beacon of light which you are. As you shine and embrace your creative gifts, others see it and they get drawn to it, and they understand that they are capable of this as well.
Yep.
Because innately that's who we all are, right? So it's extremely powerful to, and more than powerful, it's the time to stop hiding.
Yeah.
To just cut away those shackles that have been restricting us and holding us to that old paradigm of thinking, which is total fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's time to just shine and radiate and grow as one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Certainly. Nikhil, what are some actionable steps then that people can take if they've got an understanding of that, they've got an awareness of that, they may have been on a journey for this period of time? What are some actionable steps that people can take then to help really do that, show themselves, be seen, and create and implement for the service to others?
Sure. So when you are in a pretty good state of flow, ideas will come to you, right? Inspiration occurs, and it's usually a combination of what you've experienced in your life with an added innovative gift from the divine, that a new idea will be born. So it's really trusting that, number one, believing that it's possible, that it's done already. Then it's creating a bit of a plan and a strategy.
Sure.
To really ground your idea into this world. There's so much power in writing something down, for example.
It is, for sure. Yeah,
right?
definitely.
So in a more practical context, creating a business plan as a basic guideline to project forward some actionable steps to grow your business.
Like a framework?
A framework.
Yeah.
It's a skeleton. In a way.
Yeah.
And this will also be supplemented by a marketing strategy. Now, this may sound intimidating to most, but this is another important part. Follow your core genius, and I guarantee you there's somebody else out there whose core genius is to create a marketing plan or whatever that might be for a particular business.
Yeah.
So once you have that in place, once you've embodied your version of success and abundance, once you're in a state of gratitude around this, in the knowingness that this gift is a service to humanity and really a service to yourself.
You're right.
Because it's hand in hand.
Sure. First and foremost.
Yeah. And then it's a process of building momentum and having the right people around you to keep you accountable, to keep you inspired, and to follow your plan, but to also be adaptable as new inspiration comes to you and as new opportunities arise in your field, which they inevitably will.
Very good point. I think being too rigid with anything we're doing or making our mind up about something, or this is going to be the way, this is what I'm doing, is fraught with danger. Being adaptable, like those who, it's a war of attrition, really. You know, that can sound like laboursome, but I mean it in the best possible way. But those who are adaptable, who can go with the flow, as Queens of the Stone Age like to sing, are able to really, you know, roll the punches and take what comes and operate from that space of like intuition and creativity to allow that divine spark to work through them, rather than placing the ego upon it, which can like totally separate and make brittle that foundation of experience or service that you wanted to portray or show or share.
It's subtle, like the ego. It can very quickly and masterfully incept your mind, because it's really fighting for survival. But what it doesn't realize is that we love it, and we have to understand that our ego is not our enemy. It's
there to protect us.
It's there
generally.
to protect us, really. But we can't allow it to be in control. Exactly. It's important to keep the ego in check and really be aware of how it can affect your thought patterns and influence you. And that comes back to mindfulness and meditation, and just reconnecting to that flow again. Because when the ego generally comes from a place of lack and fear, and when you're operating and flowing in a heart-based service business, the ego doesn't belong there. No. Because it just generates more fear.
Yeah, exactly right. And what you're creating isn't true. It's not in line. Something life definitely has helped me in relation to that. A lot of our ego is formed, especially from childhood experiences, and it generally is put there to protect some aspect of ourselves from lack or fear, the things that you mentioned. But then as we grow older, it moves from being serviceable to being in our way. Generally, as we become more independent adults and autonomous, but it's still there because it's like a pathway that's been ingrained into our psyche. So a great exercise that I've really utilised and benefited from a lot is, instead of like trying to push it away or like envelop it with some other thing, is instead just show awareness to it, give awareness to it, and show love to that aspect of ourselves. Show love to that ego, which was there at a time when it was necessary and when it was needed. It no longer serves, but it did at a time. So it's there. It was placed there in a form of love. Can we say? Yeah. It may not be working for us anymore, and for 99.9% of the people watching this, it doesn't. But showing love to it and thanking it and releasing it opens up many opportunities.
It opens up space within yourself.
Yeah.
Which translates to space and opportunity in your external world as well. And it is a process.
It is a process.
It's not an overnight thing, but it all comes back to love.
Yeah, it does.
Love and acceptance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Actually, Nikhil, that's a great way to end it on. I think it's the premise behind all of what we're talking about here is around like, what are we doing? What is it in love that we want to create and be of service? Again, it is a lot about what we're doing in our inner world, but also then what we can create for our outer world, which is just if you want to get into it, just a reflection of the two, really. Inner world does create our outer world and vice versa. So coming at it from a loving, altruistic, empathetic as well point of view is really key to that. So, brother, thank you very much for being on the podcast.
Thank you.
It's absolute joy and honour. And how can people out there find out more about what you're doing and what you create, and how can they contact you?
Sure. So you can visit my website, which is akashacreative.com, and my Facebook page as well, which Adrian will put both links within the description of this video.
Down here. Check it out. He does some amazing work, Nikhil, with some amazing people, and certainly if you want someone who's operating from like the right point of view, then Nikhil's your man. So look out for him, and it's quite phenomenal the work he does. So thank you for what you're doing, brother. Thank you for being on the podcast. Really appreciate it. We're going to go away. He's helped me with a few things now, so it's phenomenal what he's been able to help me with, and we look forward to doing another podcast like this sometime in the future. no doubt we're going to have many more conversations.
I think
like this
so.
in
I think
between.
so.
But it'd be good if we could record all of them, but unfortunately not. But yeah, thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in and listening and watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Thank you.